One of the things I wanted to ask was what it was like going and raising funding, because to your point, there are a bunch of generalist investors that maybe have this as a sub bullet. And then here you and Ellen Patricof are basically saying, we're building a venture platform that's completely focused on this. We're going to be experts in this area. Did that resonate with people? Did people have a lot of questions? What was it like going out and raising for this fund?
Well, just to set the context, we started fundraising in June of 2020. So
Perfect timing.
basically, two months into the pandemic. Um, since I'm the general partner, the lead general partner, I'm a first time fund manager. And so we intentionally did not go talk to institutional sources of capital again, because timing, because of first time fund manager. And then lastly, because we only needed $50 million. We were starting out with, our target was 35 for fund one. And so given that, I think, so that's just to set the tone of then what kind of fundraise it is. So in that sense, then it is high net worth individuals, family offices, and turns out some strategics. And so when you're talking to those folks, many of whom are 50 plus, there was not a single person who didn't nod their head and say, yeah, like, why hasn't this been done before? So the data speaks for itself. The logic of a horizontally focused fund, all of that made sense. I think the only piece that we got a couple of questions on, which is really was your question, Daniel, which is there are no proof points. There are no, other than care.com and GrandPad, which got bought by Best Buy. There were like 2 or 3 examples of successful exits in this space. And so, what we said was that we're at the beginning of this category and, it will be a long road. We're 2 years in, we've had a lot of step ups. Everything in venture has been up and to the right over the past 2 years, so I cannot take credit for it. But, so everything's going well, but it's a long road. So I think that's where I think the intellectual and emotional alignment was there with our LPs. And then I think, for a couple of our LPs that are nursing home operators and hospital systems, I think it's been a very symbiotic relationship. And that has been super easy because they understood the opportunity and they wanted to see the deal flow. And that's what we've been delivering upon, is really being able to show our strategic investors, here's what's going on in this landscape. We've looked at 900 businesses in the past 2 years. We're, seeing 10 companies a week. We're just sucking it in, sucking it up, and then being able to share it.
Yeah.
I was just going to say the other thing is, if you're going to go fundraise, having a partner like Alan Patricof is amazing because he's been doing this for 50 years. And his ability to say, okay, that didn't go so well, or, you don't win them all. And just recognizing that, especially for someone like me, who's kind of used to a pretty high marks and success rate, that you have to just bear with it when you fundraise, that there's just going to be some conversations where it's just not in their investment theme. Like, they don't do venture, or now's not the right time. And so you have to be okay with some no's. I'm typically not okay with no. And Alan had the experience set to kind of temper me a little bit to say, that's normal. There's going to be a lot of no's.